Sally Field truly hated him more than anybody. Sally Field was born Sally Margaret Field on November 6, 1946, in Pasadena, California. Field's road to stardom began with humble beginnings. Her mother, Margaret Field, was also an actress, and her stepfather, Jock Mahoney, was a stuntman and actor. These early family ties to Hollywood introduced her to the world of entertainment, but her journey was far from easy. Sally's childhood was marked by emotional difficulties and the complexities of living in a blended family. She often used to say that she was shy and insecure. Yet, all this time, her natural talent and charisma soon shone through. After school at Birmingham High in Van, New York, she got her first big break in television, a defining moment for her career. In 1965, Sally Field became a household name as the star of Gidget, a light-hearted sitcom about a spirited teenage surfer. The show lasted only one season, but it showed her radiant energy and comic timing, which instantly made her dear to audiences. Not long after that, she took on another iconic role in The Flying Nun, 1967 to 1970, where she played Sister Bertriel, a jolly nun who could literally fly. Though the series was popular, Field later admitted she struggled with being typed as a cute, perky girl, yearning instead for more serious and meaningful roles. In her words, this period in her life marked a turning point, a time when she fought hard to redefine herself as an actress capable of much more than sitcom charm. Determined to grow beyond her television image, Field started studying acting with the great Lee Strasberg at the Actors Studio. The experience transformed her craft, and indeed gave her the confidence to pursue deeper and emotionally challenging roles. Her hard work eventually paid off when she gave a stunner of a performance in the 1976 TV movie Sybil. She played the role of a girl with dissociative identity disorder. The role required extraordinary emotional range, and Field's performance was universally acclaimed. She won an Emmy for that performance, which changed the course of her career forever. For the first time, Hollywood began to see Sally Field not as a lightweight TV actress, but as a serious dramatic talent. Her success in Sybil opened the door to film roles that would show her full range. In 1979, she starred in Norma Ray, a powerhouse drama about a Southern mill worker who becomes a union activist. The role resonated deeply with audiences and critics alike, as Field brought authenticity, grit, and passion to the character. Her portrayal earned her the Academy Award for Best Actress, and her heartfelt acceptance speech, "You like me, you really like me," became one of the most quoted moments in Oscar history, symbolizing both her relief and her joy at finally being recognized for her talent. Throughout the 1980s, Field continued to shine in a variety of roles. She starred alongside Burt Reynolds, with whom she also shared a romantic relationship in Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, and The End, 1978. Though their relationship eventually ended, it played a significant role in her personal and professional life, as both actors became one of Hollywood's most talked-about couples. Field also gave memorable performances in Places in the Heart, 1984, for which she won her second Academy Award, and Steel Magnolia, 1989, a film which showed her ability to blend strength and vulnerability as a mother coping with love and loss. In the decade that followed, Sally Field continued to prove her enduring power as an actress. She appeared in Forrest Gump 1994 as Tom Hanks's loving mother, a role which became iconic in its own right. Later, she transitioned seamlessly into television once again, earning acclaim for her work in ER and Brothers and Sisters, where she played the matriarch of a complex modern family, a performance that earned her another Emmy. Even as she entered her 70s, Field continued to take on roles that challenged her, including her Broadway performance in The Glass Menagerie and her portrayal of Mary Todd Lincoln in Steven Spielberg's Lincoln 2012, for which she received yet another Oscar nomination. Beyond her screen achievements, Sally Field has also been a vocal advocate for women's rights, LGBTQ+ equality, and mental health awareness. Her openness with self-esteem problems and candidly written memoir, In Pieces, 2018, gave fans an intimate glimpse into her personal life, victories, heartbreaks, and resilience. The memoir revealed the strength behind her vulnerability, resonating with readers who admired her courage and authenticity. Sally Field's personal life, much like her illustrious career, has been filled with moments of love, partnership, and personal growth that reflect her strength and independence as both a woman and an artist. She first married Stephen Craig in 1968, at which time she still came fresh from early television fame in Gig and The Flying Nun. The marriage came at a turning point in her life, personally and professionally, as she struggled to define herself beyond the light-hearted roles that had brought her initial fame. Though Field and Craig divorced officially in 1975, they were separated in 1973, a time at which Field started pursuing more mature and challenging acting roles that would soon redefine her career. Together, the couple had 2 sons, Peter Craig, born in 1969, and Eli Craig, born in 1972. Both of her sons went on to attain creative success in Hollywood, following in their mother's artistic footsteps. Peter became a respected novelist and screenwriter, contributing to major films such as A Town 2010 and Top Gun Maverick 2022, while Eli became known as both an actor and a director, earning acclaim for his dark comedy Tucker and Dale vs. Evil 2010. Field has spoken often of the pride she feels in her sons and emphasizes how close her family is, and how being a mother has been a grounding in her turbulent years within the entertainment industry. Following the end of her marriage to Craig, Field entered into one of the most talked-about relationships of her life with Hollywood superstar Burt Reynolds. Their romance began in 1976 and lasted until 1980, a period marked by both passion and public fascination. The two met while filming the action comedy Smokey and the Bandit 1977, which became a box office phenomenon, and turned them into one of the most beloved on-screen and off-screen couples of the late 1970s. Their undeniable chemistry led to 3 more collaborations, Smokey and the Bandit 2, 1980, The End, 1978, and Hooper, 1978. Off-screen, however, their relationship was as intense and complicated as it was affectionate. Field later described Reynolds as someone she deeply cared for, but also someone who struggled with vulnerability and control, which ultimately strained their bond. Despite their breakup in 1980, they maintained an on- and off relationship for a couple more years before parting ways permanently in 1982. In later interviews, both Field and Reynolds reflected on their time together with lingering affection, but also with a sense of unresolved emotion. Reynolds famously called Field the love of my life in his 2015 memoir, while Field, though fond, admitted in her own memoir, in Pieces 2018, that their relationship had been emotionally complex and at times difficult. In 1984, Sally Field found love again and married film producer Alan Griezmann. Their relationship came at a time when Field was already established as one of Hollywood's most respected actresses, having won 2 Academy Awards for Norma Rae, 1979, and Places in the Heart, 1984. With Grime Man, Field welcomed her 3rd son, Sam, in 1987, adding another bright light to her family. Field has often spoken with warmth and admiration about Sam, who later became a writer and public advocate, and about the close-knit, supportive nature of her family life. Despite her professional success, Field always prioritized motherhood, balancing her career with raising her children, a balance she has described as both challenging and deeply rewarding. However, as with many relationships in Hollywood, her marriage to Griezmann eventually came to an end, and the couple divorced in 1994 after a decade together. Over the years, many stories have come from the set of Hollywood films about actors not getting along behind the scenes, but few rival the tension said to exist between Sally Field and Tommy Lee Jones. Though both are respected, Oscar-winning actors known for their immense talent and professionalism, their working relationship during the making of Backroads 1981 was reportedly extremely turbulent. Sally Field, always candid regarding her experiences in Hollywood, did not hold back when discussing her feelings toward Jones. "I have worked with difficult men before," she once said, "but Tommy was something else altogether, impossible to deal with. I really hated him more than anybody I'd ever worked with." Her words, spoken both with honesty and exhaustion, hold a deep frustration and the emotional toll the experience had on her. At the time Backroads was filmed, both Field and Jones were at significant junctures in their careers. Sally Field had already proved her ability for drama with her acclaimed performances in Norma Rae 1979 and Smokey and The Bandit 1977, while Tommy Lee Jones was building a name for himself as a man of intensity, grit, and almost intimidating seriousness when it came to his craft. The rawness and believability of their chemistry may have seemed strong on screen, but much of it was fueled by genuine hostility off camera. Field admitted that much of the tension in their scenes did not require acting. It was real. Every look, every line between us was loaded, she said. I wasn't pretending to be angry at him. I was. Their conflict grew from fundamentally different approaches to acting. Field was known for her emotional openness and collaborative style. Jones was famously brooding, methodical, and often dismissive of others' opinions. He had a name for himself as being overbearing and argumentative on set. To Field, who required mutual respect and empathy from her co-stars, his attitude was insufferable. He could be condescending, she explained. He treated me like I didn't know what I was doing, and I had already won an Academy Award. It was insulting. Many crew members would later describe the atmosphere on set as tense and exhausting, with long, awkward silences and palpable animosity between the two leads. Despite personal dislike, the film required them to share a number of intimate and emotionally charged scenes. The irony was that their fiery interactions made their on-screen relationship electric. Critics noted the realism and edge in their performances. Unaware was largely a reflection of very real conflict. Field later confessed she sometimes channeled her real frustration into the character. I used every ounce of irritation I felt toward Tommy to fuel my performance, she said. It was cathartic in a strange way. Yet, once filming wrapped, she made it clear she would never work with him again. I couldn't stand being in the same room with him, she admitted bluntly. Tommy Lee Jones, for his part, never publicly responded in detail to Field's criticisms, but his silence spoke volumes. Known for his gruff demeanor and disdain for Hollywood gossip, he quickly dismissed talk of feuds as nonsense. Still, sources close to the film confirmed that his temperament often clashed with co-stars, particularly strong-willed ones like Field, who refused to be intimidated. Sally gave as good as she got. She didn't back down, and that only made things worse between them. It was like watching two storms collide, one crew member from Backroads recalled. Later, Field looked back on the experience with a mixture of humor and lingering irritation. I suppose he's a brilliant actor, she said, but that doesn't mean you have to like the person. I didn't. In fact, I hated him. And that forthrightness resonated with fans who could appreciate her integrity and unwillingness to sugarcoat Hollywood realities. She told him not every working relationship, no matter how professional, could be pleasant. People assume after actors shoot together they become friends. She added, that's just not true. You may just get by. Even now, decades later, Backroads remains a footnote in both actors' illustrious careers, remembered less for its story than for the explosive pairing of its stars. Though they both went on to achieve further success, she in Places in the Heart 1984 and Steel Magnolias 1989. He in The Fugitive 1993 and No Country for Old Men 2007. Their collaboration stands as an unmistakable reminder of how creative genius can coexist with deep personal animosity. In the end, Sally Field's feelings toward Tommy Lee Jones never softened. Her words sharp, honest, and deeply felt remain to this date as one of the most striking admissions of on-set dislike between actors. He may be talented, she concluded, but talent doesn't excuse cruelty. I'd rather work with anyone else.